So I would just press Y.
Why?
Right after you press E.
I'm asking you, like, why are you asking me why, dude?
And then figure out which axis.
That's the normal tool.
Hold on.
We need more help here.
Another Blender thing is that you kind of have history, but for one function.
Damn
one
you,
function,
Blender!
So, yeah.
Cute.
And you see Symmetrizing.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
Blender.
You can add, and I know you don't like the shells.
This is what I'm thinking
all
of
the time.
Only faces.
Like,
why must you
like
forsake us, Blender, with more useless options here?
You're gonna want to hit tab. No,
That's
sir.
I'm hitting tab, dude. What are you talking about?
You say that. So I would inset it.
V is for Vendetta. Always remember.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool, honestly.
I started using Maya way back in 2005, and it's been my go-to tool for professional work and the backbone of my YouTube tutorials ever since. Along the way, I also learned other 3D modeling apps like ZBrush, Modo, Softimage, and Houdini. However, there's been one piece of software that's always gotten the better of me: Blender. Years ago, I gave Blender a try, but could never quite get the hang of it. I couldn't push past that initial learning curve, and that thought always bothered me. And what I did manage to learn has long faded from my memory. But all that changes today. I'm setting out to model this energy can in Blender, complete with proper topology, a task that I could do in Maya in about 30 minutes. With over a decade of 3D modeling experience under my belt, how tough could learning Blender really be? And just in case things get rough, I got a big 3D YouTuber and a Blender Pro on standby, just in case I need some backup. Can I overcome the challenge of learning a new 3D package after having years of comfort with my usual 3D tools? Could Blender show this seasoned 3D artist some new 3D modeling tricks and maybe become my go-to 3D modeling app? Or will Blender fall short and prove that it doesn't belong in the industry standard conversation of 3D packages? We're about to dive in and find out. Download, it helps if I could actually spell today. Download Blender, go download Blender 4.02, the world famous Blender home screen. Blender navigation, orbit, middle mouse button, pan, which is shift middle mouse button, zoom in and out. The mouse wheel should be simple enough. Alt. This is gonna take a while. I keep hitting Alt here. So it's been about 15 minutes that I've been trying to orbit, pan, zoom around this default cube versus doing it with the Alt button, how we pretty much do it in Maya. Overcoming this navigation muscle memory is pretty challenging so far. Let's get rid of this default cube here. Probably don't need these cameras. Now I deleted everything from my scene collection. Is this like Maya where it actually needs a camera? Let's create a new scene here. And this cube is back. Why won't you die, default cube? I just deleted you. I guess this thing always is gonna come back with the anytime that you open up a new scene, which is kind of annoying. This camera is not the actual perspective view or what we're actually looking through like Maya. So I don't think I messed anything up. To add a reference image, hit Shift A to bring up your add menu. Scroll down until you find your images tab. So Shift A, and we're gonna drop an image reference. This looks terrible. Looks like this got dropped in perspective, which is pretty much what Maya does. Shift S, nope, Shift A. And now we're gonna do image reference. There we go. Now we need to move this. So it looks like W is not gonna do it. Muscle memory is betraying me once more. But it looks like we have the tools here. So this is the move, which is the G. And I'm not getting a gizmo here. So it looks like this little guy here controls your gizmos. There's the Maya-esque gizmo that I was looking for. So now I'm gonna hit Shift A. I wanna bring in a cylinder. Using my superhuman deduction powers, the cylinder is probably under mesh, which it is. And now we're gonna go to cylinder. In any mode, if you wanna switch between wireframe and solid, you use a Z. So I'm gonna just scale this so we can go back here, enable this for scale as well. Right in the middle, scale up. Ah, come on, Blender. There we go. So right in the middle, just lining this up. So I initially thought this was going to take me about 10 minutes, and it's actually been close to an hour from downloading Blender, getting used to the navigation, bringing the reference images in, and just really figuring out the basics of the interface. At this rate, it's going to take me probably over a day to finish this, and I really can't afford to take this long on this project. But luckily for me, I have a nifty little backup plan. So I'm going to call in a buddy of mine, a 3D modeling beast who's a lot further along in his Blender journey. And the sponsor of today's video is me. Looking to turn your passion into an exciting career in film or video games? If so, I got your back. Enroll in the Hard Surface Masterclass. Discover my simple step-by-step process to create professional 3D models. Unlock the 3D secrets that will get you hired. Register for free to this exclusive 3-part training using the link down below. Aunmar, my man, appreciate you coming in the call, man.
What's up, JL? How are things going, man?
Well, honestly, this has been a wonderful journey of exploring and getting to know a different package. No, honestly, bro, it's kind of been a living hell.
Yeah, I feel that.
Take everything from Maya over to Blender. It's been a little bit more of a challenge than I originally anticipated. I threw in the towel. I folded like a cheap lawn chair, and I decided to call you as my backup here. You're a certified 3D modeling beast. You have a lot of experience in Blender, much more than me, and I figured you'd help me get past some of these sticking points.
Yeah, for sure. And the good thing is I just went through all of this, right? I mean, I use Maya. Been using Maya on a daily basis, and now I'm using Blender for a lot of freelance.
I figured how to put in a couple reference planes and create a cylinder. How do I make these unselectable so I keep selecting them no matter what? It's kind of my first challenge here. I know Maya has the layer system where you could drop them, hit template or reference.
Yeah, so what we want to do, Blender has kind of a different system. It has collections, and then it also has what's called restriction toggles. So the first thing that I would do is select your reference images in the viewport. Let's throw all of that in a collection, kind of like our layer, right? If you press M on the keyboard in the viewport, it'll automatically create a new collection. So, just make a new collection, call it ref.
So let's do it. Ref, enter. All right, so I see the eyeballs, which is visibility, right? Just my genius deduction here, right? Boom.
There you go.
How do I take off this selectability?
So the annoying thing, right, by default is that Blender doesn't show you your selectable or non-selectable layers. So you see that little filter thing at the top right next to the collection icon?
Oh, this like little funnel looking thing?
You see that triangle?
Oil change here?
Yeah, right. Yeah, you got to dig through to get these settings. You see that little triangle? Kind of looks like a compass. So that lets you know that it's selectable. So if you go back to your outliner, under your ref collection, just disable that. Boom.
Bam.
And so now it's there, but it's frozen now. So you're not going to accidentally select it.
Nice. All right, so I got this non-selectable, but in Maya, how we can set it up where it's not visible in perspective, but in your orthographics it is. Can we do some similar flavor of that?
Yeah, you definitely can. So if you select the reference image, go to your settings panel on the right.
So we're looking at the right here?
Yep. Right above that. There you go. So this is your object property. So if you have mesh, you have lights, this is essentially your attribute editor, right? For whatever it is. If you want this to only show up in orthographic views, you disable perspective. Boom. So now it's not going to be there. But if you snap to the orthographic view, so if you hold Alt and do that weird Blender thing where it snaps.
How do I snap like you mentioned from here? I did learn that you could hit the numpads to cycle these.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm already like a Blender 9, level 9, right?
Yeah, so this is one of those things when you're using Maya in Blender, you're going to do this on accident all the time. It's holding Alt while using the left mouse button. So you do this on accident all the time. But if you're orbiting with middle mouse button and then you hold Alt as you get closer to an orthographic view, it'll automatically snap into an ortho view. It's weird. I know it's weird because it took me a while to really have it become intuitive, because you're so used to just hitting spacebar in Maya and just switching your orthographic views, because you'll notice there's no quad view here. You can set it up, but I actually like the fact that we're always in perspective and I can snap to whatever orthographic view. I'm kind of embracing all of the, the Blender nuances compared to the Maya.
Right now, what I have is I kind of use this to line things up. Let me delete this. I'll kind of start focusing here on the top details and kind of extrude my way out. It's kind of the best way to kind of shove a cube in here.
You're gonna want to get used to,
right?
There you go. Shift A.
I'll take credit for that. I got 50% right. So Shift A, mesh, and there we go. Cube. Boom. Object mode. So we can't grab the verts right from here.
We got to go into what's called edit mode.
Edit mode. Okay.
Yeah.
So object, drop down, second after second. On my Blender skills are just growing exponential here. All right. So we're in edit mode. Is there like, I'm going to go crazy here toggling this. Is there a hotkey for this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You're going to want to hit tab. Yeah.
Tab, like the tab that's here in the soda can, that tab?
No,
That's
sir.
a tab. I'm hitting tab, dude. What are you talking about,
say
man?
that. Man, these are questions my students ask all the time, and I love it.
It's like trying to teach your parents how to use the internet. I'm hitting tab, man. What's going on? I got you. Tab on the keyboard.
Yeah.
So I'm toggling. That's progress. All right, cool. So we're gonna go in here, and then there we go. Marquee select. All right. So I know G is grab. So I got these lined up. Let's scale these bad boys down. So you said shift space bar, and then for scale works the same. Yeah. I'm gonna not need you soon, man. I'm absorbing all your powers here at an exponential rate. Yeah, let's why don't we set up something symmetrical? We usually kind of model with symmetry. Let's drop an edge loop here.
So if you want to add an edge loop, it's called loop cut. Which is Control R. So if you add that, that'll allow you. Now it works a little bit differently. Hit Control R. That's asking you which edge ring do you want to insert this edge. So if you click, you're like, okay, now I'm in position mode. So you can left click to drop it anywhere, but in this case, we want to have it be symmetrical. So just right click.
Okay.
Yeah. So left click.
So this is kind of like the multi-cut where you control middle mouse, right?
Middle mouse. Yep.
We're in edit mode. So if I go to face, which is 3, drag marquee these, how do I get rid of these faces?
It's a couple of hotkeys. One, you can simply use delete.
All right,
and then
so faces.
Blender, here's another weird thing. Yeah, you can just select faces. Sometimes you can delete. If it says only faces, you'll leave your edges and vertices, which is a weird thing, but I found some use for that here and there. But yeah, just doing faces blows away the vertices and the edges.
It's kind of like Maya where you do control delete and to get rid of everything. But if you hit the regular delete, it leaves all your verts and pisses you off most of the time.
Yeah. Well, you're going to see something even weird. Actually, undo that and I'll show you what Blender does, which is weird. Now, if you select 2 faces and then delete, but do only faces.
Only faces.
Yeah. Look at that, though. You see that edge sitting there?
Looks like a nightmare, man.
This freaked me out. Okay, this freaked me out when I first did this. And I was like, why is this happening, right? So
why must you forsake us, Blender, with more useless options here?
I've seen some use cases, but for the most part, if you see these floating edges, because it'll literally leave a line, which is your edge. So base, which will blow out the verts and the edges.
Wireframe. Let's scoop these up here. See you in hell, faces. And there we go.
There you go.
Now let's set up some kind of symmetry.
Yeah, so the nice thing about Blender, similar to 3ds Max, is it has a modifier stack, right? So if you see that blue wrench over there, and then now you add your modifier, and you can just type search or in search and type in mirror.
Okay, mirror X, beautiful. Oh, you could actually do multiple axes at once. That's nice, man.
That is pretty nice.
We don't got that over in Maya. This is getting fancy here. I'm liking this right here.
Right.
Let's go back into edit mode. You know what? I'm kind of missing my my 2 views here. Can I keep an ortho and have a perspective?
If you hover over in the top right corner of your viewport, it turns into a crosshair. So now click and drag over to the left. Are we playing
Call of Duty now? Am I aiming for a headshot?
You gotta be precise here. Now click and drag, move that over to your left. There you go.
Okay. That's nice. I like that.
It is.
Pretty flexible. All right. So if I go in here, set that up, ortho top, which is what I want. We got our perspective, which is always nice. Let's bevel these bad boys. So I could just go here and modeling, right?
Modeling, yeah. And this will give you way more real estate.
So we just got to kind of go back, pull this out. Now we get this. I think we're ready for the big B here, the big bevel. So I'm going to select both of these. How do I do that?
Blender's very hotkey driven, so you can just
I noticed that.
yeah, you can just hit Control B for bevel.
All right. Control B. Okay, boom.
As you're beveling, if you middle mouse scroll up, boom, you can add that. This is super nice. I got spoiled now because I do this in Blender all the time. When I go to Maya, it just doesn't do it. It just doesn't work as well.
Yeah, it doesn't. This is actually pretty intuitive. Can I change the settings on here? Let me undo that. How would I change the shape afterwards of the bevel? Is there some kind of node history or? Another
Blender thing is that you kind of have history, but only for one function.
Damn you, Blender!
So, yeah, so
just as I was getting to know you better and we were just connecting, you just shove a steak knife into my heart.
Yeah, there's a lot more of those.
I really do like that node history in Maya. So what's the workaround here?
So what you need to do is, and by the way, calm down, guys. I know you can add bevels as modifiers, okay? But we're using a destructive modeling workflow here for a sub D, okay? So if you hit Control B to get back into your bevel tool.
All right, Control B, bevel. So I want to go ahead and I think we're good on subdivisions here. I know we're probably going to have some overlap in geo, but let's take care of this shape, right? Where's the history at here? Like, how can we tweak this bevel?
It's in the bottom left corner of that viewport.
Yeah. Nice. Now we could change this bevel. Let's see the shape. All right, that's what I want to do. So we play with the shape. Yeah. It's working out nicely. We're kind of approximating that. If not mistaken, we got vert on top of vert. So why don't we fix this? I'm assuming something like a merge would work.
So if you want to be safe and merge your vertices, you can hit M for merge on your keyboard, and you can merge by distance.
That's awesome. Now these are merged. Now we go back here. That's perfect. That's what I wanted. Kind of get a feel for the divisions here. Probably a couple more. This is not working out, man. We got a soft select we could use?
We do, yeah. I don't know why Blender just doesn't call it soft select like every other 3D software in the world, but you can use proportional editing is what they call it. Now you're in proportional edit mode, so you're not going to know, because this always confused me too, but you want to press G now.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so now you see it, and then you have a fall off like you would your normal.
This thing's gigantic. How do I manage this infinitely large fall off here?
Middle mouse scroll down.
Okay.
There you go.
Right.
And so now you can start to move it.
Massage this thing. You know what? Let's kill these faces here real quick, because this is kind of driving me crazy. So I'm gonna scoop these up. X faces. There we go. Now this is much cleaner. Sure. One for verts. Let's get these two here. G proportional. I think I'm gonna need to. Yeah, I need to filter this. Ah, Blender. How the tables have turned. Boom, got it. We could probably knock this down. Yeah, this is pretty nice, to be honest. It's about an hour in, and we managed to get a line. So. We're moving at the speed of light here. We probably want to extrude inward here with an offset. What's kind of the best way to do this in Blender?
Maya, you got extrude, offset, thickness, all in one tool. Blender does not. Blender separates them all as separate tools. So we want to
Blender! Just keep complicating my life here. Just why can't you be exactly like the package I just left to make it easy for me? I haven't considered it.
Oh yeah, pros and cons to each, right? So if you select that and then hit I for inset and then drag in.
Wait a minute, I see some trouble brewing here on the lower east side of town here.
What I would do is I would undo that real quick
and go back to mine.
No.
Throw in the towel now while I'm
I did that at the beginning. At the beginning, I would work and I'm like, I'd flip my desk and I'd go back to Maya and do that. And then finally I said, you can't do that anymore, Aunmar. So you gotta work through it. So I would apply now the modifier because the issue that we're having is it's insetting with mirror. It's super easy to apply and then reapply. So if you actually hover over and then press Control A over the modifier, object mode. Yeah, now press Control A. Yeah, there it is.
Got it.
Yeah.
Back into edit mode, select this face. So how do we inset this again?
Both faces. Select both faces.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's why you get paid the big bucks, man.
Yeah.
Both faces, because we don't have that mirror anymore. Now, how do I inset this?
Jail, you got this. Come on.
Aye.
There you go.
Aye, me matey. Aye,
for
boom,
inset.
there we go. I remembered.
There you go.
Yeah, I like that. Look at that edge flow, baby. That topology. That's
Yeah.
what I'm talking about. Only probably 20 more hours of this left, but I think we're making some progress.
It looks like it's still there though. Yeah, you
It's
can
still
see
there,
it.
but it's just we could see where that is. All right, so let's hunt this this renegade vert till it can't hide anymore. Oh, wait a minute. We got this. I think this gigantic face here is not liking us. I think that's
I say delete that one too, because we can recreate that real quick. And
why don't we backtrack here, keep these, and let's see if this one. Oh, this one's like part of. Aha. Okay, I got you now, Blender. You're in my crutches.
There it is.
Boom. Delete this, and now we got this clean. Now we're gonna get the happy ending that YouTube wants. So we're gonna delete this as well, or maybe we can pop a vert in here and kind of just scooch these over.
You can just split the polygon. There's a couple different ways. I mean, you can use subdivide or just grab the knife tool and just cut the edge.
We'll run with the knife.
So a knife is one of those hotkeys that begin with the letter.
The problem is I actually stopped reading and spelling at a third grade level. And that's why I became a 3D artist. But here you go, man. Just knocking me
explains a lot.
Back down, man. Back into a whole world of trauma here. If I remember right, it's K.
Cut and then split it to that corner vert.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then you can just remove the edge.
Now we could probably merge these with M. We could do center. If I remember what you said, we could do shift spacebar and move. There we go. Now we're making progress. So we'll scoop both of these up, hit X, delete edges. Perfect. So why don't we just quickly finagle these into place?
Now something happened.
What happened, man? Give me the bad news. What happened?
Look at it in perspective, solid mode. You see what it did to the faces?
Perspective always breaks your heart. You're looking like a hero in ortho, and you're looking like a scrub here in perspective. Story of my life. Where do we go wrong, Aunmar?
Yeah. Well, we should just be able to just fill.
So how do we fill these?
I would select the
F.
There it is.
There we go.
Now we're picking up. You're kind of changing one side versus the other. So you could reapply your mirror, or you could use that Symmetrize, which is pretty nice. If you just hit A to select everything. So you see where it says View, Select, Add Mesh, and then scroll down about halfway till you get Symmetrize.
Symmetrize. Okay.
And so at the bottom left panel, you'll see that which axes do you want to mirror over to the other? I think you were working on the positive x-axis, so you want to do positive to negative.
Nice. I like that.
There it is.
This is this is kind of like ZBrush-esque, where you're mirroring.
Yeah. Now I've watched your videos before, JL, and I know you don't like the shelves, right? You always get rid of it, you always blow it out. But there are some nice ways to create some, quick access tools, right?
This is what I think of the damn shelf. Yeah, man, that shelf pisses me off. I like to kind of maximize my visual real estate. I'm banging the real estate game here as far as visual, right?
Hold on. I just want you to add that Symmetrize tool to kind of a quick access. So if you go back to Mesh Symmetrize, this is a nice thing about Blender. I'll give it 2 points, right? Go to Symmetrize, right click the words Symmetrize about halfway up, and then add to quick favorites. So now, once we're in the viewport, you can hit Q. And you see Symmetrize pop up.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah. So
Blender.
You can add whatever tools that you commonly use to your quick favorites. Hence the name, right? Been starting to grow that, especially for pivot stuff, Symmetrize, and different functions. Works extremely well.
We established this initial edge flow. Now I think I probably want to extrude these down and start building this out. I think that'd be a good game plan, and kind of start. What's the best way to select this? Scoop up this range.
Yeah, if you alt click, it'll select the whole loop. Click the starting edge, hold control, go to the other edge. And
Amazing.
there you go.
It took us 3 hours, but we did the unthinkable here. Ladies and gentlemen, we selected a whole range in Blender, so I need a round of applause. Let's go ahead and extrude, and by what we've been doing so far, E should be for extrude, right? If my third grade reading and comprehension and spelling is right, E, there we go. Okay, E, not getting my Maya gizmo here, so.
When you're extruding, I would do E for extrude, and then we know we want to move this in one axis, so I would just press Y.
Why?
Right after you press E.
I'm asking you, like, why are you asking me why, dude?
Y axis, baby, come on.
Oh, why? Okay. Are you messing with me, man?
No.
Okay, we got it. All right,
you,
I'm gonna drop that there, and let's pull this down. S for scale, to Y again, and I guess now we could start manually plopping these here to approximate this. Now, is there a way to? I know Maya has constraints for like to slide along the edges.
Yeah, it's a nice hotkey to slide on edge. Essentially, it's just G.
Let's try that out. I like that, nice and simple. I think I want to go a little bit more straight than these. What's the best way to like cut across and get a straight line?
It's going to be your knife tool again. It's essentially the same as a multi-cut tool inside of Maya. So think of it as your Swiss Army knife, right? It's got a ton of different functions. So if you grab K,
gotcha.
And if you want to cut across, you can do it that way. Now, one thing
is there a constraint?
Snap to the angle, and it's A for angle.
Nice. I'm gonna drop this here now. What's the best way to get this a little bit more straight? In Maya, you can scale flat. Can we do this with this edge?
Yeah, it's a nice trio of hotkeys again.
Great.
So
gotta love those.
Yeah. So if you want to scale it flat, you can do S for scale.
Okay.
And then figure out which axis.
That's the normal
Hold on.
We need more help here.
Y for the axis, because that's essentially the vertical axis. And then you press 0. So S, Y, 0. Boom. There it is.
Amazing.
It makes you feel real cool too, right? S, Y, 0, boom, and then you just move on.
That's always just a nice feeling to be able to get those great straight edges. And I think once you get that cadence of hotkeys, it's actually kind of nice to be able to do that all with the hotkeys. So I think we're ready to kind of do a little edge flow work here. Best way to do this is let's move this down with GG. Probably connect both of these. So probably need a bridge here.
You hit Control E while in edge mode, or it doesn't matter which edge mode. So you can think of Control V, Control E, and Control F, as in these are very similar to the marking menu inside of Maya. And this got me through a lot here because these will find you all of the edge context sensitive modeling tools.
Nice.
So we want a bridge, and then you just find bridge edges.
Control E, got this, and then we're gonna do a bridge.
Edge loops at the top.
Let's start merging some of these verts here. M for merge. I really like how you could kind of tell Blender, the different options. Like in Maya, it's just everything gets collapsed through a threshold, but here you could kind of pick and you get multiple options. So if this is our first and that's our second, now that should be done. Yeah. So we're going to pick first. Obviously, I don't know the difference between first and last. And then I think we could repeat that here. So this is the first. This is the second, which is the last.
Yeah.
Probably do an inset here. And I think that's going to kind of keep that radial flow here. So could we just fill this in and then just bevel this edge?
Yeah. You can do exactly that.
Pick this up here. We'll hit F for fill. And is the bevel going to work here?
So I would inset it.
So we have Michael Bay explosions on the left, but I think we're going to keep that.
What are you doing?
All right. So we survived the post-apocalypse. I like that. Now we got that flow. And now we should be able to bevel this and kind of get that nice... that nice little creasing, because we're going to end up breaking this up anyway. So let's select this and then
let's symmetrize it. You like to live on the wild side, man. I can't. We can't model with vertices floating all over the place like that.
Yeah, you're right. Live a little, man. Live on the edge, Aunmar.
Clean meshes for life, man.
All right, delete these as well. We're gonna go and let's just resymmetrize this. Hit N.
Well,
wait a minute.
You over cleaned it, right? Symmetrize works when you mirror over a mesh. I know, JL. I went through the exact same thing. So now if you select everything.
And it was A. All right.
A.
Now we hit N. Oh, no, not N. It's Q.
Q. There you go. Quick favorites. Boom. There it is.
Amazing.
Now, there's a couple faces, which is okay. They're completely separate in the viewport and the perspective.
V is for Vendetta. Always remember that.
Yeah, there you go. That's actually pretty cool, honestly.
We're making logos here on the side. So we're graphic designing and modeling at the same time. I'll just finagle these a little bit closer. Oops. The navigation always rips you down. That's like the hardest thing to get used to.
A second.
Okay, so we got this. Aunmar stepped out, but I'm a big boy now. So if I do Control B and then play with this wheel here, still quadding out here at the edges. So that's gonna be nice. We keep our topology nice and clean. And then I can probably finagle this. I think a couple more insets and we'll have all this edge flow nice and set up. So we'll select the face, inset, and there we go. Now we're getting closer to the promised land. The inset tool is actually really intuitive, and I actually like it being a separate tool versus having to deal with that with the extrude in Maya and the offset.
Yeah.
Sometimes that can get kind of wonky. Amazing fun times vert pushing. That's bread and butter, all polygonal modeling.
Yeah.
Not the most exciting thing in the world, but it is kind of a necessary evil.
As long as you lay that foundation of good topology, this part's pretty quick. Tedious, but it can be quick.
Yeah, I'm really digging this slide too. It's pretty intuitive. I think we're gonna need another edge loop here. So why don't we bevel this, assuming we could do that. Kind of pull out just one more edge. We're going to need a little bit more just to kind of hold that corner up. I'll worry about quadding this out and pushing it towards the outside later. And that's the thing about topologies. You know, sometimes we just don't have to obsess about everything kind of quadding. We could just focus on localized detail and then pretty everything up. And that's something that I used to do as a beginner, is obsess over everything, how everything would flow. How are we going to pull this off? Probably a bridge. What's the best way to kind of tackle this? Or maybe just slice and cut all this up and connect these edges.
For the Blender users, pause. What's going on here? Right? Think about what you would do. Are you setting me up, man? Is this like training day, or are you taking me to the wrong side of town? Yeah, it's one of my favorite things in Blender, honestly. And I'm waiting for Maya to have something equivalent. First, let's symmetrize it, get everything back to where it needs to be. All right. So we're going to do A, quick favorites, symmetrize. Boom. Now I would select that opening that you have for that face. Mm-hmm. And let's try to use something that will automatically do this. I know my Blender users are probably, man. Delete those faces. All right. Now select that loop. Okay. So what's next, man? You're getting me kind of excited here with your promises of 3D modeling glory. Well, I hope this works. So now we want to select that open edge loop, and then if you press Control F, that's going to give you all the face context sensitive functions. And there's this really great tool called Grid Fill, and let's see what it does. I'm a little nervous. This is either going to blow up my mesh or it's going to be amazing. Grid Fill. This is janky, but assuming if we play with this, keep going. Yep. Come on, give it to me. Almost there. Give it to me. And there you go.
I'm done.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. I'm impressed. We're going to need to cut here. So I'll get the knife tool all the way through here. That'll be a straight loop out. Merge this bad boy together. So we'll merge last. So when we knife this, that'll be quadded there. Loop there.
Right
and
across.
then we should be good. We should be able to slide this. At center. Now we established this general topology. We got rid of that try, and everything is nice and encapsulated.
Yeah, that's the nice thing, right? Is that all of your topology information 100% transferable here over to Blender. As long as you're using the same tools, the fundamentals are the same.
Bevel. Now we want to probably plop in some kind of cylinder here, connect, right, or do the bridging and bobber. I know in Maya we have the poly count. How do we enable that here so that way I don't have to manually count verts and edges and lose my sanity in the process?
It's going to be viewport overlays. So it's that tiny little icon with the two kind of Venn diagram spheres on top of each other. Hit that drop down, the one right next to that. There you
Got
go.
it.
And then there's statistics.
Reminds me of this high school class that I was terrible at. But we got the edges. This is always a great tool, especially when you're doing clean quad work and you're trying to bridge things instead of manually counting. Now this is 40. So now we drop a 40 edge cylinder. This will be clean. So I'm going to hit Shift A and then we'll just drop a cylinder. Go to the settings. We're going to drop in 40. That's kind of nice. Since we're here in Maya, since we're here in Blender, this is already one object because we dropped this in edit mode, right?
Yeah, I do that by accident sometimes. I want to create meshes and then it just gets combined. So if you're in edit mode, it'll automatically add it.
That's nice. That's actually a nice feature, and we're going to have like less like history and stuff to worry about. We don't have to worry about merging stuff. So X, delete, faces, bam. In the money, baby. So now we got this face. So why don't we inset it and kind of line it up here? I'll hit I, inset, kind of line this up. We got one inset, two insets. We're looking good. Let's delete this face. I think we're ready to bridge these up. So let's select these, Control E. And we do bridge edge loops. Boom. This is now we have a perfect cap. So I like that. This is all starting to slowly and painfully gel into my brain. And yeah, like you said, there's not that many differences once you start knowing the workflow. It's actually pretty similar for a lot of the process.
JL, I think you got it, man.
What do you mean?
Honestly, I got to get back to modeling these props and these assets that I've been working on for my next series.
So you're just gonna bail on me like halfway through? You just lull me into a false sense of security?
I think you got it, man.
You think so?
We'll catch up tomorrow, and by the time we look at it tomorrow, I'm sure the whole thing will be done. And you'll be teaching me stuff, honestly. It's so quick to pick up on Blender.
You know what? I think it's time for me to, have nature take its course and for me to struggle a little bit on my own here, but I think I'll be able to figure out. But for those watching at home, Aunmar, you're like an amazing instructor, and I really look up to you, your teaching, your style, your way of breaking complex things down and making them simple. That's always super valuable. How can everybody watching at home get to know more about your content and, just learn about your amazing teaching style?
Yeah, for sure. You can find me at Aunmars3D, be it YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, ArtStation, and Patreon. So be sure to check me out there. And I just started a series to help artists go from Maya to Blender or Blender to Maya, be it a hobbyist that wants to work in industry or somebody that is a professional that just wants to use Blender outside of work.
I'll have all those links down below so my subscribers can quickly find your content. All right, Aunmar, it's been real. Appreciate the help 1,000%. And I'll catch you next time.
I'll see you around, JL. Good luck, man.
By the time Aunmar left the call, already was around the 2.5 to 3 hour mark working on this. And I figured this last leg of the journey was going to take quite a bit longer as I had to do quite a bit more modeling work, but I didn't want to make this video overly long. So I'm quickly going to break down what I did to finish out the model in Blender. I focused my initial energy on creating the topology on the top of the can and then shaping it in 3D space. And I was able to use the solidify modifier to add procedural thickness there to the opening of the can, which was really, really nice. I did like that level of flexibility using the modifier stack. After creating the details on the top of that can, which were the most labor intensive, everything kind of flowed a little bit quicker after that point. I was able to extrude down and then focus my attention on the details at the bottom, which were pretty much simpler than the ones on the top. After that, I kept things pretty simple as far as getting to know the subdivision modifier and also just adding the holding edges. I know there's probably a lot better ways to do that with Blender at this point, using other modifiers, but I kind of stuck with the tools that I learned via just Googling or that Aunmar taught me during our call. By the time I hit the tab, things kind of sped up quite a bit because that muscle memory started kicking in. And this is where my previous 3D modeling experience helped me out a little bit because I knew exactly what I wanted to do. It was just a matter of finding out how, pulling it off in Blender. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the final result in Blender. Honestly, I wasn't sure how this 3D model was gonna turn out because of my limited experience with Blender. However, everything from Maya, once I got into the swing of things, was able to carry over pretty much flawlessly. I'm actually pretty happy with the results. The model, the details, the topologies, pretty much on point. And overall, I'm pretty happy with the result that I was able to create. So what's my final take on Blender? Knocking out this 3D model took me about 6 hours, but it probably would have taken me much longer if my boy Aunmar didn't help me out. Transitioning my skills from Maya over to Blender's interface initially posed challenging, but my existing 3D modeling experience definitely did help. Blender impressed me with its grid fill feature, saving significant time and achieving clean topology. Its modifier stack, which reminded me of 3D Studio Max, lends itself well to a powerful, non-destructive workflow. Most 3D tools felt really intuitive, and the dual functionality of object and edit modes, similar to what I appreciated from Softimage, really enhanced my efficiency. However, Blender's heavy reliance on hotkeys and less intuitive menus compared to something like Maya posed a moderate learning curve, and I could see this learning curve being much steeper for total beginners. Also, editing object pivots wasn't as streamlined as other software. Despite these drawbacks, Blender's 3D modeling capabilities, especially with its modifier system, showcased its potential for creating models in a non-destructive manner. Even though there were some ups, downs, and a little bit of yelling, ultimately my experience with Blender was pretty rewarding. This journey taught me an important lesson. While 3D software are essential, it's the artist's skill that truly creates a high quality 3D model. While Maya will remain in my toolkit, I look forward to exploring Blender further and creating more complex 3D models. So have you used both Maya and Blender? How was your learning curve when switching between these softwares? I would love to hear those in the comment section down below. Whether you're 3D modeling in Maya or Blender, one of the essential and hardest skills to master in 3D modeling is creating proper topology. And to help you out, I made this video right here.